from the state in revenues. That assumes none of this, what's the federal stimulus money coming down, and we do believe there will be some coming to the Board of Ed, although none coming to the city. That assumes no taxes. That frankly assumes that our revenues are at the same rate as they are now. We're certainly hoping that that changes, and that over the course of the spring, the house sales and the refinancings and some of the sales tax numbers start to go up again, and that number will automatically come down. But this is what we do in the first few months of the year, so that on April 15th, all else being equal, I can present a budget, a balanced budget, to the City Council. That's basically where we are with the budget right now. I have met with our state representatives up in Albany, in fact, as recently as this past Wednesday. I've testified before the Budget Committee, the joint committee between the Assembly and the Senate up in Albany, explained to them that one of our most serious problems continues to be that we're not properly funded for education compared to all the other large cities. We just got the numbers today on what the 5 largest districts, school districts, and that's New York in order, New York City, Buffalo, Rochester, Yonkers, and Syracuse, can expect from stimulus package money coming into us. And once again, we got the lowest. Even though we're not the smallest city, even though we have been underfunded for many, many years, once again, we're getting the lowest. And that's the reason for that is that the distribution, when the federal government announced it, they said it shall go to the states and be distributed under the existing formulas for distribution, which already has treated the city of Yonkers badly. So we're getting the lowest amount. That's about $14.7 million over a 2-year period for specific types of programs in the Board of Education. So it will help a little bit, but I have to stress a little bit. And it doesn't help anywhere near as much as Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and obviously New York City, which is in a very different class. So that's what's going on with stimulus money. We're also looking for some of that money to do some of these projects. We'd like to get some of that money to help pay for some of the infrastructure for this huge downtown project, which will change the city forever, for the better. It's not eligible. It's not eligible because we did an almost 3-year environmental impact statement analysis, painfully thorough, and it's done, and the impact statement is completed, and it's been approved. Under the federal rules, if you don't do it under the federal law, you can't get any federal money. Even though New York State and probably California have much tougher environmental laws and much more stringent requirements for their review, if you didn't check off that box that said we did a NEPA review, National Environmental Policy Act, then you're not entitled to take any of the federal money. We've asked for it to be changed. We've asked for them to allow the environmental review under the state law to satisfy the federal requirements, which, by the way, interestingly enough, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency has already come to an agreement with the State Environmental Agency years ago to allow that to happen. But agencies like the transportation agencies in both don't allow that to happen for their environmental studies. The environmental agencies do, but the other agencies don't. We need to get some help, and that would make that available, and we have $240 million in infrastructure costs that they could put money into and allow that project to happen faster. Same thing on a project we've got going on Ashburn Avenue. So these are the kinds of things we've been looking at. These are the kinds of roadblocks we're running into. No one seems to know where the real money is going to come as far as the stimulus package, and we obviously have no idea where the state budget is going to be because they don't. And I was talking to our state representatives. They're not all that confident that a budget's going to be adopted before April 1st, which is the state's mandated date to begin their fiscal year. Without knowing how much we're getting from New York State, I can't propose a budget. Because remember, your money goes up there and then comes back to us, and it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And until we know how much we're getting, I can't just put a hole in there and say to be filled by New York State. I guarantee you that the hole that I'm going to put in there to be filled by New York State won't be as small as the hole that they're going to want to fill with the New York State money. So that's pretty much where we are on the budget. Now, having said that, like I said, I would only take about 2 minutes. I'm going to open it up to questions. You can ask us on the budget, you can ask us on projects, you can ask us on any department. If you've got a problem in your neighborhood, the department heads are here. This is your chance to ask any questions. I have people in the aisles with microphones. Put your hand up. We'll try and get to everybody. And don't get frustrated if you don't get the microphone in the first few questions. You will get it. You will have a chance to ask your questions.
senior citizens. We're lived in the city. I'm here all my life. I live in my house where I am now for 36 years, and it's getting scary because everything's going up. We live on tight fixed incomes. I live on Social Security, a low Social Security, no pension. Everything's going up. Where can we go to get help? I mean, it's either we eat, we pay our taxes, we don't eat. Where do we go to get some help? I mean, like Hastings, I think it was, they had, if the senior citizens did work in the city of town of Hastings, they got a discount on their taxes. Yonkers has nothing like that. So where do you go so you don't lose your home and at the same time you still can survive?
Actually, I don't think that, I may be wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe what happened was in Greenberg, the town supervisor basically said if you can't pay your taxes as a senior citizen, we'll let you work it off. They didn't get a discount for helping in the town. They basically were told, you're not going to be allowed to get away without paying your taxes, so you can come in and we'll find jobs for you to work off the taxes that you can't pay. If I had that kind of an answer, I wouldn't just be mayor of Yonkers. I'd be a very wealthy man. Everything does go up. Look at your own lives. The cost of gasoline goes up. We have to pay the same. The cost of fuel oil goes up. We have to pay the same. Insurance goes up. Cost of labor goes up. We've kind of held the line, and I know I've had some real tough negotiations with our personnel commissioner and me and our unions. They're not happy with the raises they've gotten over the last few years. They've demonstrated outside City Hall and outside my house. They weren't happy with the raises they got, which were pretty much holding to the cost of living increases. But we had to do that because we saw this train wreck coming. Not as far in advance as we would like to have, and certainly not to the degree that it was. But we saw it coming. We saw that we still didn't have a revenue source that allowed us on an annual basis to meet our budget. And we always had to be looking for more money. We don't have much in our surplus. So I understand you, believe me. My mother, like you, my in-laws, like you, are on fixed incomes. They're in their 80s, they're on fixed incomes, they have homes, they've got to pay for all the same things every one of us has to pay for. I don't know any source of money that I can point you toward or anyone else here toward. And I can tell you we're trying to keep the cost of government down as much as we can. But we can't do it at the expense of your safety and your security. We have to have police. We have to have fire department. We have to pick up garbage and plow streets. We have to teach the children. I don't have a simple answer for you. All I can tell you is that the economy is what's causing most of the trouble. The economy. All those factors that led up to the economy causing most of the trouble has caused all of the investments in New York State, has caused all of our revenue sources to go down. And that makes it even tougher for us. And that does force us into a position where we are going to have a tax increase. I won't even hazard a guess for you what that tax increase is. Because we still don't know what's coming out of the federal money. We still don't know what New York State's going to do. And that will dictate what the deficit that we have to fill is. And then the only way to fill that is either increase revenues from sources that are there, like fees and taxes, cut costs by eliminating programs and therefore laying off people. It's most likely to be a combination of both. By the way, this is our Commissioner of Finance's first meeting here, so we decided when the questions get really bad, we're all feeding them to him. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, good evening, gentlemen of the panel. If I may, I have two quick questions. Number one, the status of the downtown, if the funding is still available, and what's the outlook as far as getting this thing going? And then I would have a question for Commissioner Hartman, if I may.
The downtown right now, the environmental impact statement is complete. We're negotiating what's referred to as the land disposition agreement. That's the contract of sale for all the city-owned land between the city and the developers, which they need to, like Chicken Island and the land next to the Case Center that they're going to build on. And that has a whole series of conditions built into it to try and protect our interests so they don't land bank it if they can't build. Once that's done, they get site plan approval, and that